Over the last lectures, we covered a lot of core features of Axios. There's one other super cool feature which I also want to share with you, and that is the creation of custom Axios instances. Right now, what we're doing is we're always using the global Axios instance which we import from the Axios package. Nothing wrong with that. If your whole application shares the same global config as we set it up here, that's perfectly fine. But imagine an application where you target different URLs. And for one set of URLs, you want to attach this authorization. For the other set, you don't want to do that. With custom instances, you can easily get into such a world. Now, to use a custom instance, I'll create a new file for that, even though that's of course optional. I'll name it Axios auth.js. Because let's pretend that for authenticating and for sending requests from the sign up and sign in.view files, we actually want to set a different base URL. Here it's the same, but later when we enter the authentication module, this will actually become relevant. So let's already prepare it here. In Axios auth, the first thing I'll do is I'll import Axios from Axios like this. Now with that, we can create a new Axios instance. So I'll create an instance constant here, and in that I'll store Axios and then call create. Create will eventually return this new instance. We can now configure this instance with the same config you learned about already. So we pass a JavaScript object, and then here we could set some headers, or we simply set up a base URL. I'll also show how to set headers in a second. So base URL, here of course is always the same, but let's pretend it would be a different one. So I'll copy the base URL from my main.js file. Here, this one. I'll copy this string and use it here as a value for base URL. If you also want to set up your own headers, you can simply access instance defaults. So this instance again has a defaults object, but these defaults will now only apply to this instance and not to the global Axios instance. And on this defaults object, you can set up exactly the same as you could before on the global instance. So here you can also access headers, common, and let me simply set the something header here to something. Now all I have to do is I have to export this constant, and I'll export it as the default here, so default instance. And now we can import it from anywhere in our application where we want to use this instance. Now as I said, I want to use it in the auth related files, so I'll go to the signup.view file, and there I now no longer want to import the global Axios instance, but my own one. So I'll adjust the path and simply import from 2 levels up Axios auth. And I can still name this Axios. You can name this Axios instance, whatever you want. I'll stick to Axios so that I don't even have to adjust any of the other code. Because that's the cool thing. The Axios instance works just like the global instance. It's just a customized version. And we can create as many custom instances as we want and need. And therefore, we got many customized instances, each with its own set of setup and configuration, so that we can really have the best of both worlds. Very detailed and request-specific configuration, and still using this on a global level as far as possible. So now let's save this. We're now using our custom instance. We will be able to tell by the fact that we have this something header. If we now go back to signing up, this is where we use that instance. If I do sign up here, that's not my real age, by the way, I'm a little bit older. So if we do sign up here, submit this, we actually see that it still works. If we inspect the network and the post request there, under headers, we also see that we did set the something header. So we did indeed use our own custom instance, and it still worked as before. Of course, so does the dashboard. So custom instances are the last feature I wanted to show you. It's super useful and gives you a lot of power for your Vue applications.